Warranted. I mean, they're 1% of the population. So why are we reaching out and doing all this for 1% of the population?
I guess because it's 1% of the population.
MAGA supporters' perspectives on Trump vary widely, from extolling him as a decisive problem solver to advocating extreme measures like shooting immigrants at the border, showcasing a spectrum of often contradictory beliefs. They staunchly defend Trump even in the face of his documented bankruptcies and legal entanglements, displaying steadfast loyalty that seems impervious to conventional criticisms. This steadfast support persists despite the glaring discrepancies between Trump's touted problem-solving abilities and the tumultuous events that marked his presidency, including government shutdowns, trade wars, and a contentious pandemic response. It's akin to praising a chef immediately after they've burnt down their kitchen. When confronted with these inconsistencies, many supporters dismiss or downplay concerns, illustrating a disconnect between their professed values and their unwavering support for Trump. For instance, questions about Trump's business failures or legal troubles are met with deflection or indifference, suggesting a prioritization of loyalty over critical assessment. The assertion that they would continue supporting Trump even if he engaged in illicit activities like drug use with Hunter Biden underscores this blind allegiance, raising concerns about the implications of governing a nation like a volatile business enterprise. Moreover, their claims to uphold law and order clash with their apparent acceptance or denial of Trump's alleged transgressions. Despite Trump facing legal scrutiny and substantial financial liabilities, supporters often pivot to arguments about the ubiquity of such behaviors among other figures, sidestepping direct confrontations about Trump's accountability. This pattern reflects a broader trend where ideological allegiance to Trump supersedes consistency in ethical or legal principles. The aftermath of the 2020 election further highlights these contradictions. While some continue to rally under slogans like "Make liberals cry again," the irony is palpable as it is conservatives who appear most aggrieved by the election's outcome. This paradox underscores the selective memory and narrative shaping evident among MAGA supporters, where attempts to perpetuate a victimization narrative often clash with objective realities. In interviews and public discourse, Trump supporters occasionally exhibit bewildering logic or factual inaccuracies. Instances like reinterpreting statements with a blue Sharpie typify the cognitive dissonance observed in their reasoning processes. Similarly, justifications for historical injustices such as slavery or revisionist perspectives on systemic racism reflect a troubling pattern of minimizing or distorting historical facts to fit contemporary narratives. Conversations with prominent supporters like Brian Glenn, who deflects serious legal charges against Trump with dismissive claims about jury bias or personal attacks on interviewers, illustrate the lengths some go to shield their idol from criticism. The heated exchanges and personal accusations underscore a defensive posture that prioritizes loyalty over objective assessment, often resorting to ad hominem attacks rather than substantive debate. Handpicked by Donald Trump, know exactly what you're all about right now. But the dialogue quickly takes a sharper turn when Glenn decides to make it personal, accusing Mocker of being a Trump hater journalist. "You're nothing but a Trump hater, and you're out here trying to get everybody to be tripped up." Very convenient to question the journalistic integrity of a person when you don't have anything to counter with. Question who thinks these 34 indictments are worth a piece of crap. You know what? All worthless.
3 times anyway that I can think of. What makes him the mouthpiece for all the things that you care about?
I would say that compared to what the Democrats have to offer, I think that he is the
People think that we have to be the country that lets everyone in their empire. Talking about our country was founded on principles about, give us you're tired, you're poor, you're hungry. But we believing that compassion for immigrants is brainwashing shows a lack of empathy and historical awareness. America was built by immigrants, and the values of giving refuge to the tired, poor, and hungry are what made it strong, not weak. They weren't getting food stamps. They weren't getting supported by the government when they came here. They were on their own when they came here. The claim that past immigrants didn't receive government support is misleading. Early immigrants often relied on community support, and later on various forms of aid as the social safety net evolved. Respecting immigrants isn't about denying them help, but acknowledging their potential and humanity, the close the border and all that stuff. That's important to us. But he wasn't able to accomplish all way. We liked this travel ban to keep America safe. We liked how he was trying to take money away from. Tell NATO countries to, start, putting more money out, claiming that Trump tried to close the border as a success, overlooks the real impact of such extreme policy. They often resulted in family separations and human rights violations, rather than increased security. Then the Muslim travel be. Yeah, cuz, I mean, you got to keep the country safe. Even though if it hurts some people's open, feelings, the Muslim travel ban wasn't about safety. It was about discrimination, targeting people, money to be given to, people that are coming here. Not necessarily. Doesn't mean you're racist. It just means you need to take care of. The idea that cutting aid and blocking immigrants is about taking care of your own misses the point that America's strength lies in its diversity and global leadership. Isolationism weakens us. Saying these policies aren't racist, but about safety and resources doesn't change the fact. Vote for him even if he was smoking crack with Hunter Biden just shows blind loyalty. Running the country like a failed business could lead to national disaster. It's alarming that this doesn't seem to concern you. I believe in the law, so you're a law and order guy. Well, if we don't have rules, what you got? Chaos. There's that cognitive dissonance on display again, claiming yourself to be a law and order guy, and then turning a blind eye when the guy you support does it. Is the height of hypocrisy. I'm saying he did a thing that was very illegal. He owes hundreds of millions of dollars. You're a law and order guy. Does that bother you? Is he the only one that's ever did that? What kind of argument is that? It seems it to be if you really value law and order. But Trump is guilty of crimes. Does it bother you that Trump, your guy, did a fraud that is costing him nearly $400 million? It's that same pattern of thinking that we've been seeing all along. These people will bend all of their principles when it comes to Donald Trump, no matter what he does. 2020 make liberals cry again. But Trump's the one who's not in office, so the liberals were happy about the 2020 election. So if there is a group that's crying about it, it would be wearing a Make Liberals Cry Again shirt. It's pretty ironic when you realize it's the conservatives who are still crying over the 2020 election. And we were trying to, in 2020, we were trying to make that happen again. Make them cry again. But then he lost. Right. It's always a bit awkward when they're confronted with the fact that the only ones crying are them. Say, who's been crying about the 2020 election? Who would it be? This kind of pause usually happens when MAGA folks face simple logic that shatters their narratives. Up next, we've got a Trump supporter who's got a bit of a confusing message. Trump no more. But what does it actually say there? Well, you just have to use a blue Sharpie. Ironically, it perfectly sums up the sloppy thinking often seen at these rallies. If you can't get a simple word right, how can we trust your political judgment? Okay, but it means. Yes, but it says. Next, we've got a Trump supporter making a case for, slavery. Ultimately, the narratives and perspectives of MAGA supporters reveal deep-seated divisions within American society. The clash between loyalty to Trump and critical engagement with reality underscores broader societal challenges related to political polarization, media literacy, and civic education. These dynamics shape public discourse and policy debates, influencing the trajectory of American democracy in profound and often unpredictable ways.